All right, Lions fans, you guys know how I feel about Aaron Glenn. It is time to move on from him. That's just the bottom line. There's nothing right now that can change my mind. The only way I would probably change my mind is if we win a Super Bowl. Outside of that, maybe if we get to the NFC title game. That's the only way I would change my mind. But I think that he's horrific as a defensive coordinator. I don't think what he did against Dallas, holding CeeDee Lamb to 227 points, is a good thing. And 141 to Justin Jefferson before that. And if you look at Aaron Glenn as a whole, his defense sucks. Now, you could argue that he doesn't have the personnel. Okay, so that means you have to blame one or two people. Well, you got three people to blame. You can blame Aaron Glenn for the defensive scheme, which is what I'm doing. I am also blaming Brad Holmes for the lack of playmakers. And I'm also blaming Dan Campbell. But the brunt will go on Aaron Glenn because he does not change. He keeps doing the same thing and it doesn't work. Okay. So this came out today and I saw this, and Lions fans, I need to know if you guys read, okay, because reading is fundamental. All right. So here is what the Tom Pelissero said. As the hiring cycle approaches, this is interesting. The NFL Players Association asked over 1,700 players to rate the coordinators they play for on a scale of 1 to 10. Here are the top 5 at each spot, including number 1 overall vote getter, defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. Okay, so Aaron Glenn, as you see right here, is the number 1 vote getter of all defensive coordinators, it says coordinators, period. So he is the number 1 right here, right? Okay, and I'm getting pushback on, see, I told you Aaron Glenn was good. Aaron Glenn, see, you said it was Aaron Glenn. It is Aaron Glenn, all right? So let me go back and verify this tweet. It says, Lions fans everywhere. This means he's a good DC? No, it means players like playing for him. Likability has nothing to do with skill. The numbers on the field matter. If Dan wasn't winning, he'd eventually be fired, no matter how much he's liked. I don't understand. This players wanting to play for Aaron Glenn, okay, does not mean that he's a good defensive coordinator. Why can we not correlate the two? What are we doing here? That's not what that means. If you had a boss who you loved, and then that boss was fired because he sucked at his job, you think because you like him, the CEO of the company is going to keep him around? Man, come on. This is what we're basing Aaron Glenn being a good defensive coordinator from. I mean, we weren't born yesterday, right? Okay. Aaron Glenn, and if you will call holding the Dallas Cowboys high-powered offense listen, this is dumb to me. This is dumb. I'm a likable dude sometimes, right? But I'm also very good at what I do. So if you liked me and I sucked as a YouTube creator, would you still watch me? Oh, wow, we really like Derek. If I'm not good at what I do, you're not going to watch the channel. I mean, come on, man. I really don't understand this, but Aaron Glenn was voted among players most likable guy that he's willing to play for. What does that mean? That doesn't mean he's a good DC. I don't understand this. I do not understand this. I would prefer demoting AG opposed to firing him outright. I believe he could be a better defensive back coach opposite to a full-on DC. Okay, here's the thing. I keep saying this, and there's no legitimate argument. So let in the comment section, give me a legitimate argument. All right. Okay. We had Anthony Lynn. We had him for half a season. Let's give Anthony Lynn half a season. Anthony Lynn on offense had less to work with than Aaron Glenn does on defense right now. Right. We fire Anthony Lynn after half a season. We basically fire him undercover. We demote him. He's still on the team. We don't renew his contract at the end of the year, right? Then that was year 1. So he got half a season. Year 2, you'll notice a pattern here. Year 2, we fire defensive back coach Aubrey Pleasant. And there's something floating around YouTube or the internet that he was telling defensive backs to do whatever they wanted to do, which is why he got fired. So we fire Aubrey Pleasant, the defensive back coach, when he allows Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to put a combined 296 yards on him, right? On his defensive backs. He was fired the next day. Here we go. Too soon? Here we go. Now let's get into 2023. Oh, Aaron Glenn, we're top 10 against the run. Okay. Our pass defense is horrid. Points per game. Before Dallas, we were 22nd in the league. So What I see is the Chargers putting up 38 points. What I see is 5 consecutive games where a team has scored 26 or more points. What I see is the Seattle Seahawks putting up 38 points. There's a pattern here. Now, you can either blame Aaron Glenn for scheme, you can blame Dan Campbell for hiring Aaron Glenn, or you could blame Brad Holmes for the lack of personnel. Either way, you can blame whoever you want. But to call Aaron Glenn a good defensive coordinator is a stretch, in my opinion. To me, a leopard don't change in his spots, man. He needs to be fired. That's the end of it. So that's how I feel. But this whole poll and the fact that Lions fans are trying to use this as a reason to see, we told you Aaron Glenn was a good coach. Is that a joke? That is a joke, man. So which one am I firing him this year? I'm not. It's too late. It's too late. He would have been gone. Aaron Glenn would have been the one gone instead of Aubrey Pleasant. That's just the bottom line. Oh, but he turned the defense around. Okay, very good. And we still didn't make the playoffs. So I'm just done. There's only one thing he can do for me, which is take us to the NFC title game or we make the Super Bowl. Those two things, we'll buy him one more year. Outside of that, he needs to go. That's why you never hire your friends. You never go into business with your friends, bro, because you're not going to be friends long after that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.